how to actually hear problem frequencies in your tracks the right way, and how to properly fix them with EQ. Hey friend, I'm Alex with Audio Edges, and by the end of this video, you'll be able to identify and properly hear problem frequencies in your mix. And you'll know how to eliminate them for great sounding results in your track. What you're about to see is a segment of my Easy EQ Moves free mini course, which I'll put a link to at the end of this video. And make sure you stay until the end because I have another special gift to give you too. And now let's tackle those problem frequencies in your tracks. This is going to be called surgical EQ. Well, what is surgical EQ? We just talked about a bell curve that looks like this in a boost or a cut position. Well, getting surgical essentially means creating a narrow bell. So essentially this is just like a bell curve, except dialing in on a very tight range of just a couple frequencies. Well, you might wonder, why would I ever want to do this? Well, the reason why is because as you develop your ears, you're going to be able to start hearing problem frequencies or harsh frequencies or frequencies that are poking out and sound unpleasant. And you're going to develop your ears really well if you stick around and subscribe to this channel. We're going to work on that together. But for this video, here's what you need to know. When you're doing a surgical EQ move like this, you're never going to be boosting, okay? Surgical EQ is typically for cutting out a problem frequency, like we talked about finding, okay? Because a boost like this is going to do the opposite. It's going to create problem frequencies that we don't necessarily want. We want a nice, cleanly balanced mix. So you're rarely going to be ever boosting something like that with a surgical EQ, okay? This could also be called a notch. Because we're notching out a frequency. Now, technically, a notch filter will go all the way down to the bottom, but you don't always need to do a surgical EQ move all the way down minus 18 dB, for example. Sometimes you might just need to do it something like 4 dB or 5 dB, or even just a couple dB to really hit that frequency point and just tuck a little bit of that problem out of the way. So this is a surgical bell, and if you go all the way down, it's going to be more of something we call a notch filter. But you don't really need to worry about notch at the moment. Just think of this as finding a problem frequency and, like a surgeon, moving it out of the way with a narrow bell curve. So together, let's find a problem frequency in this guitar. Do you hear that little frequency I just found? It almost sounds like a whistle. Listen really closely. Now the key here is trying to hear the frequency before you even touch your EQ, before you apply the move. Because if you go like this and sweep around, essentially what will happen is that you might be boosting things that weren't a problem. And then you convince yourself that it is a problem because you boosted it so much while you were looking for it. So the key is listen to the guitar and listen to the frequencies before you make any move, okay? When I heard this guitar first, I could hear in my ear this little whistle. See if you can hear that whistle. That's that frequency there. Listen. Now, if you weren't able to pick that out, don't worry, you will get there. Stay with me. I'm going to take you through that journey and you will get there. But for now, let's hear that whistle and take it out of the guitar. Now you know what it is. Listen for this. Okay, so it was a problem in the recording. We're going to duck it out a little bit. That feels perfect. Just something like minus 4.5, you know, nothing. I'm not going like this. I'm not doing minus 18 because did you hear? If I go too far, it'll sound hollow. So I'm just going like -4, just listening until the problem goes away and nothing more. Now, one thing very, very important with these surgical EQ moves, you want to be careful. Sometimes one mistake that you can make when you're starting out is thinking that there's a lot of problems everywhere and trying to find them and boosting things all over the place. And then you end up with a ton of these all over the place that look like this. And maybe there's just a few too many where you didn't need it. And you end up with a hollow sounding track because you've actually cut out a lot of a lot of the frequencies across the spectrum. So just be careful and do this only when you hear a problem. Try to listen to it before, and then if you do need to boost, the reason I boost like this is so I can identify where it is once I've heard it. Once I've heard it, I can find it much quicker by doing a little sweep, and when I hear that frequency ring out, then I can know exactly where it is. I can leave that there and I can pull the gain down to get it out of the way. My friend, I have a free resource for you that you're gonna love. It's called the Vocal EQ Guide. The guide is very simple and easy to understand and proven to get results. So the link will be at the top of the description and you can go download that now. And as always, happy mixing, and I'll see you in the next video.